Ah, bacon. That sizzling, mouth-watering sound that makes breakfast feel complete. It's the smoky aroma that fills your kitchen, the crispy bite that pairs perfectly with eggs, pancakes, or even a burger. For many people, bacon isn't just food, it's comfort, nostalgia, and pure joy on a plate. But what if I told you that the bacon sitting in your fridge could be doing a lot more harm than good? Behind those glossy packages and claims of hardwood smoked or premium cut, many grocery store bacon brands are hiding some dark secrets, and I'm not just talking about fat or calories. We're talking about chemical preservatives, synthetic flavorings, and questionable meat sourcing practices that could be affecting your health far more than you think. Some of these brands use liquid smoke flavoring instead of real smoke, pumping artificial taste into low-quality meat to trick your senses. Others rely heavily on sodium nitrite, a chemical linked to heart issues and even cancer risks when consumed in excess. And the real kicker? Some companies have even been busted for contamination recalls, false labeling, and factory farm abuses, all while marketing their products as farm fresh or naturally smoked. Most people assume bacon is just bacon, pork, salt, smoke, done. But the truth is far messier. Between cheap fillers, excess sodium, and preservatives meant to extend shelf life, many big brands have turned a once simple food into a hyper-processed product that barely resembles real bacon. So before you grab that next pack on your grocery run, take a minute. Because today, we're pulling back the curtain on the worst offenders, the bacon brands that promise flavor, but deliver something far less appetizing. These are the 10 grocery store bacon brands you should absolutely avoid at all costs, and stick around until the end, because we'll also reveal a few brands that are actually safe, made with real ingredients, cleaner methods, and taste that doesn't come at the expense of your health. 1. Great Value Bacon, Walmart brand. When you're grocery shopping, it's easy to get drawn in by that tempting low price tag, and Walmart's Great Value Bacon often catches people's eyes for exactly that reason. It looks like a deal, right? A big pack of bacon for just a few dollars less than the competitors. But when it comes to bacon, cheaper doesn't always mean better, and in this case, it can actually mean worse for your health and your wallet in the long run. The first major issue with Great Value Bacon is what's inside. Flip the package over and you'll find a long list of additives. Things like sodium nitrite, sodium erythorbate, and artificial smoke flavoring. These aren't there for your benefit. They're there to make the bacon look pink, last longer, and smell smoky, even if it's never been near real wood smoke. The problem is, when bacon cured with sodium nitrite is cooked at high temperatures, it can form compounds called nitrosamines, which have been linked to cancer. Then there's the sodium content, a serious red flag. Just 2 slices of Great Value Bacon pack more than 400 milligrams of sodium, which is nearly 20% of your recommended daily intake, and that's only from 2 strips. Most people eat 3 or 4 in a serving, especially at breakfast. That means a single plate can push you close to your daily sodium limit before you've even started your day. Over time, that kind of sodium overload contributes to high blood pressure, heart disease, and kidney strain. Let's not forget about quality. When you cook Great Value Bacon, you'll notice something frustrating. It shrinks dramatically, losing nearly half its size and releasing a puddle of grease. That's because the bacon is injected with water and salt brine to make it appear thicker and juicier in the package. So essentially, you're paying for added liquid, not real meat. And when that water evaporates during cooking, all you're left with is a thin, greasy strip that's more fat than flavor. The texture? Uneven. The taste? Overly salty with a chemical aftertaste. It's the kind of bacon that smells good in the pan, but disappoints on the plate. So while Great Value might sound like a bargain, in reality, it's a bad deal for your body. Between the additives, low meat quality, and excess sodium, this is one bacon brand that truly belongs on your avoid at all costs list. 2. Oscar Mayer Bacon. For decades, Oscar Mayer has been one of the most recognizable names in bacon. The catchy jingles, the colorful packaging, the sense of nostalgia, it all makes you feel like you're buying a trusted family classic. But behind that familiar yellow label lies a bacon that's loaded with ingredients your body definitely doesn't trust. Let's start with what made Oscar Mayer a household name: consistency and flavor. The problem is that flavor doesn't come naturally. Most Oscar Mayer bacon products are pumped full of artificial smoke flavoring, preservatives, and flavor enhancers designed to give you that instant hit of smoky aroma when it sizzles in the pan. It smells great, but that smell is chemistry, not craftsmanship. One of the biggest issues here is sodium nitrite, the same chemical preservative used in processed meats to preserve color and extend shelf life. While it keeps the bacon pink and pretty when cooked at high temperatures, nitrites can react with fats and proteins to form nitrosamines compounds linked to increased cancer risk, particularly colon and stomach cancers. That's a big red flag. especially if bacon is something you eat often. Then there's the fat-to-meat ratio. Many Oscar Mayer bacon varieties, particularly the regular cut versions, are notoriously fatty. You'll find yourself with more grease than actual bacon after cooking. And although they've introduced naturally hardwood smoked or center cut options, they still carry sky-high sodium and fat content. We're talking 380 to 450 milligrams of sodium per 2 slices and about 7 grams of fat. For something that barely fills your plate, that's a heavy hit to your heart and arteries. And while Oscar Mayer has tried to market no sugar added and uncured versions in recent years, many of those are still cured using celery powder, which naturally contains nitrates. So while the label looks cleaner, the end result inside your body is the same. What's worse, Oscar Mayer's parent company, Kraft Heinz, has faced backlash in the past for misleading no artificial preservatives claims on some of its processed meats, which later turned out to contain natural nitrate alternatives doing the exact same thing. So even though Oscar Mayer might be America's bacon mascot, the reality is far less appetizing. Between chemical curing agents, artificial smoke, and greasy cuts, this brand is all about image, not integrity. If you're serious about eating cleaner, Oscar Mayer's bacon is one nostalgic name you'll have to leave behind. 3. Hormel Black Label Bacon. When you think of premium bacon, Hormel Black Label often sounds like the fancier choice, the kind you'd buy when you want something better than the bargain brands. The packaging even looks upscale with bold black lettering and thick-cut claims that scream quality. But when you dig beneath that slick marketing, Hormel Black Label Bacon turns out to be just another wolf in smoky, greasy clothing. Let's start with the brand's reputation. Hormel proudly advertises real hardwood smoke on its label, and while it's true that their bacon goes through a smoking process, it's far from pure. Instead of being traditionally smoked for hours over wood chips, much of Hormel's flavor comes from liquid smoke and chemical flavor enhancers. The result? Bacon that tastes smoky but lacks the genuine depth you'd get from a naturally cured, slow-smoked product. It's the illusion of quality, not the real thing. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry project. Sodium erythorbate, sodium nitrite, and sodium phosphate are the usual suspects. Each of these chemicals plays a role in preserving color, extending shelf life, or altering texture. Sodium phosphate, for example, binds moisture and makes the bacon appear plumper, but it's also been linked to kidney strain when consumed regularly. Sodium nitrite, as you know by now, has a darker side. When exposed to high heat, it forms nitrosamines, compounds with known carcinogenic potential. And the numbers don't lie. Just 2 slices of Hormel Black Label bacon pack in around 370 milligrams of sodium, 7 grams of fat, and only about 2 grams of protein. That's an extremely poor nutritional trade-off, especially considering how small a serving size 2 slices really is. Most people eat 4 or 5 at once, easily doubling that intake without realizing it. Even more concerning, Hormel has faced scrutiny in the past for recalls related to possible contamination in some of its pork products. While not exclusive to the Black Label line, it does raise questions about the brand's overall production oversight and ingredient sourcing. When you cook Hormel Black Label bacon, you'll likely notice heavy shrinkage, uneven crisping, and excessive grease. The fat melts away fast, leaving small, salty, overcooked strips that taste more chemical than smoky. So while Hormel's Black Label branding tries to make you feel like you're buying gourmet bacon, in truth, it's just another heavily processed, sodium-loaded trap wrapped in premium packaging. If you're aiming for clean eating and real flavor, this one definitely belongs on your avoid at all costs list. 4. Smithfield Bacon. Smithfield is one of the biggest bacon brands in America, the kind you'll find stacked in nearly every grocery store from coast to coast. The packaging proudly says, America's favorite bacon. But what that label doesn't tell you is that Smithfield has also been at the center of multiple controversies surrounding its ingredients, sourcing, and even safety. Let's start with the basics. Smithfield's bacon is made by curing pork belly with water, salt, sugar, and sodium nitrite, followed by a dose of artificial smoke flavor to give it that signature sizzle. On paper, that doesn't sound too unusual, but the problem lies in the proportion and processing. Each slice is heavily injected with brine to boost weight, which means you're paying for extra water, not extra meat. Once cooked, that water evaporates, leaving you with bacon that shrinks dramatically and turns greasy instead of crisp. The sodium levels? Brutal. Just 2 slices contain around 430 milligrams of sodium, nearly 20% of your daily limit, and let's be honest, no one stops at 2 slices. Add the high saturated fat content, often 7 to 8 grams per serving, and you've got a breakfast food that's practically engineered to spike blood pressure and cholesterol. But health concerns aren't the only issue here. Ethics and safety play a role too. Smithfield, owned by China-based WH Group, has faced major backlash for its factory farming practices, including overcrowded conditions, overuse of antibiotics, and questionable sanitation in processing facilities. In fact, the company has been investigated multiple times for environmental violations and animal welfare concerns, And it doesn't stop there. In 2020, Smithfield was temporarily shut down due to one of the largest COVID-19 outbreaks in a U.S. meat plant, highlighting deeper issues with quality control and safety oversight. While the bacon on store shelves may look fine, those behind-the-scenes issues cast a long shadow on the brand's integrity. As for taste, Smithfield bacon tends to be overly salty, oily, and a bit artificial in flavor, more like a chemical smoke bomb than real slow-cured bacon. The texture is inconsistent too, sometimes chewy, sometimes brittle, and often leaves that unpleasant film of grease on your mouth. So while Smithfield may dominate the market, that doesn't make it the best choice for your plate. Behind the glossy packaging lies a brand that prioritizes profit and production speed over purity and health. If you're serious about cleaner, safer bacon, Smithfield is one brand you'll want to walk right past on your next grocery run. 5. Wright Brand Bacon. At first glance, Wright Brand bacon looks like the real deal. Thick slices, hand-trimmed, real wood smoked, and often marketed as the premium choice for true bacon lovers. It's the kind of product that makes you feel like you're buying old-school, butcher-quality meat, hearty, authentic, and worth the extra few bucks. But once you peel back that rustic image, you'll see it's just another cleverly marketed bacon with more problems than promises. Let's talk ingredients. Wright Brand bacon proudly advertises its real wood smoke flavor, but here's the catch: much of that flavor comes from added liquid smoke and chemical flavoring rather than traditional long-hour smoking. True hardwood smoking is a slow process that gives bacon depth and character, but in mass production, companies like Wright often take shortcuts. That means you're getting the illusion of craftsmanship, not the real thing. The ingredient list doesn't look friendly either. Water, salt, sodium phosphate, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite. Those chemicals might sound harmless on the surface, but sodium phosphate is used to retain moisture and boost weight, so your expensive thick-cut bacon is actually pumped with liquid. Sodium nitrite, once again, is the notorious preservative linked to carcinogenic nitrosamines when cooked at high heat. Nutritionally, the story doesn't get better. 2 slices contain around 440 milligrams of sodium and 8 grams of fat, with nearly half of that being saturated. That's a heart attack waiting to happen if you make bacon a regular part of your breakfast. And since Wright bacon is often cut thicker than most brands, you're consuming more fat and sodium per slice than you realize. But what really turned some consumers off was the 2018 recall incident, when Wright Brand bacon owned by Tyson Foods was linked to potential foreign matter contamination. Some packages were recalled after metal shavings were found in products during routine checks. While that recall was limited, it raised eyebrows about quality control in facilities that produce millions of pounds of bacon every month. And let's not ignore the flavor truth. While it looks thick and hearty, Wright bacon often cooks up unevenly, with fatty ends that burn while the middle stays chewy. The real smoke taste feels forced, overly salty, and slightly metallic due to the additives. So, while Wright bacon markets itself as the ultimate premium pick for bacon lovers, what you're really buying is a chemical cocktail dressed up as craftsmanship. The branding screams old-fashioned, but the process couldn't be further from it. If real quality matters to you, skip Wright. It's not worth the hype, the salt, or the health risks. 6. Boar's Head Bacon. Now, this one might surprise you. Boar's Head, a brand that has built its name on quality, premium deli meats, and no-nonsense ingredients. You see Boar's Head and think of tradition, craftsmanship, and cleaner food. But when it comes to their bacon, the story isn't as clean as their marketing would have you believe. Boar's Head markets its bacon as naturally smoked and gluten-free, with no artificial colors or flavors. Sounds amazing, right? But take a closer look at the fine print, and you'll realize that the brand uses celery powder and sea salt as natural curing agents. That might sound better than sodium nitrite, but here's the thing. Celery powder still contains nitrates, which your body converts into nitrites during cooking. So, despite the fancy labeling, those same potentially harmful nitrosamines can still form when the bacon hits a hot pan. Nutritionally, Boar's Head bacon isn't much better than the cheaper stuff. 2 slices carry roughly 390 milligrams of sodium and about 7 grams of fat, nearly half of which is saturated. So even though it looks more upscale, the health impact remains very similar to budget brands like Great Value or Smithfield. The difference? You're just paying more for the illusion of purity. Here's where things get a little controversial. Over the past decade, Boar's Head has faced criticism for misleading all-natural marketing, not just for bacon, but across several of its meat products. Consumer watchdog groups have pointed out that natural doesn't mean chemical-free, and Boar's Head, like many companies, leans heavily on that word to win over health-conscious shoppers. It's a clever form of food marketing, one that convinces you you're eating clean, when in reality the same chemical reactions are happening in your pan. Taste-wise, Boar's Head bacon has a reputation for being overly salty and a bit tough when overcooked. It crisps nicely at first, but the aftertaste gives away its heavy sodium load. Some customers even report inconsistency. One batch smells amazing and cooks evenly, while the next burns quickly and curls up in the pan. The brand undeniably does better than the bottom-tier competition, But when you strip away the marketing and focus on the actual science, Boar's Head bacon still falls short of being truly clean. The sodium's high, the nitrates are still there, and the natural label doesn't mean what you think it does. So while Boar's Head may sit proudly in the deli case, it's not the guilt-free choice its reputation suggests. Sometimes even the premium brands aren't as pure as their packaging promises. 7. Farmland Bacon. Next up on the list, Farmland Bacon. On the surface, this brand looks like your classic all-American breakfast staple. The packaging shows sizzling, golden bacon strips, the words naturally hickory smoked, printed proudly across the front, and a picture-perfect morning scene that practically screams home-cooked tradition. But the truth hiding behind that comforting image? It's far from wholesome. Farmland is owned by Smithfield Foods, one of the largest pork producers in the world. And that's where the first red flag appears. Smithfield has long been criticized for industrial-scale farming, animal welfare issues, and environmental violations. The company has faced multiple lawsuits over pollution and unethical practices tied to its massive hog farms. So when you buy farmland, you're not just getting bacon, you're buying into the same factory farming system that's often linked to low-quality meat and questionable ingredients. Now let's talk about what's actually inside that strip of bacon. Farmland's classic cut hickory smoked variety contains sodium nitrite, sodium erythorbate, sugar, and artificial smoke flavoring. These preservatives and additives might extend shelf life, but they also contribute to the formation of nitrosamines, which have been associated with increased cancer risk when processed meats are cooked at high temperatures. Nutritionally, 2 slices of Farmland bacon come in at around 90 calories, 8 grams of fat, and 360 milligrams of sodium, pretty standard numbers. But the problem isn't just in the numbers, it's in the quality. Because of the curing process and artificial additives, Farmland bacon tends to be overly salty with a chemical aftertaste that lingers long after you've eaten it. The flavor feels more smoke in a bottle than real wood-smoked goodness. Even worse, Farmland markets some of its products as low sodium or naturally smoked, but those labels don't mean much. Naturally smoked often just refers to liquid smoke flavoring added after the fact, not actual wood smoking. And the low sodium versions? They still contain preservatives and nitrites, so while your salt intake might drop slightly, your exposure to chemical curing agents doesn't. The texture of Farmland bacon can also be inconsistent. One pack might cook up crisp and satisfying, while another turns rubbery and greasy in minutes. That's the hallmark of mass-produced meat, quality control issues. So, despite its classic look and family farm branding, Farmland bacon is just another example of how marketing masks the truth. The company wants you to picture a small, country kitchen, but what you're really supporting is a global pork giant with industrial practices. If clean, honest food is what you're after, Farmland's bacon simply doesn't make the cut. It's all smoke, salt, and preservatives, no real substance behind the shine. Alright, now that we've uncovered the truth behind those unhealthy bacon brands, it's time to take a deep breath because not all bacon is bad. Yes, you heard that right. There are bacon brands out there that actually respect your health, your taste buds, and even the animals behind the product. The kind of bacon that skips the harsh chemicals, avoids factory farm shortcuts, and still delivers that rich, smoky crunch we all crave on a Sunday morning. We're talking about real bacon made from responsibly raised pigs, cured naturally without nitrites, and smoked using actual wood, not fake flavoring. These brands don't try to hide behind shiny packaging or misleading buzzwords like natural or farm fresh. Instead, they earn their place in your fridge with honesty, transparency, and clean ingredients. Think of it like this: if the first part of this video was about what not to trust, this next part is about what to finally believe in. Bacon that doesn't leave you feeling guilty, bloated, or concerned about what chemicals you just consumed. Bacon that's simple, real, and built for people who actually care about what they put in their bodies. So let's flip the pan literally and turn our attention to the bacon brands that are actually worth your money. These are the ones that prove you don't have to sacrifice flavor for health. Here are the safe and trustworthy bacon brands that deserve a place on your breakfast table. 1. Applegate Naturals, no sugar bacon, the gold standard of clean eating. If there's one bacon brand that's earned a cult following for doing things right, it's Applegate Naturals no sugar bacon. In a world where most bacon brands are loaded with artificial smoke, sodium nitrites, and chemical preservatives, Applegate decided to take a completely different route, one that honors both your health and your taste buds. What makes Applegate stand out isn't just its marketing, it's the mission behind the label. Their bacon is made from humanely raised pork, fed a vegetarian diet, and completely free from antibiotics and growth hormones. Unlike those mainstream bacon brands that rely on sodium erythorbate or nitrates for that pink, perfect look, Applegate lets nature do the work. The curing process uses nothing more than sea salt, water, and a touch of celery powder for natural preservation. No hidden lab-made chemicals in sight. The result? A slice of bacon that actually tastes like bacon used to taste before the industry turned it into a chemical experiment. It's rich, smoky, and perfectly crisp without that harsh aftertaste you get from nitrite-heavy brands. And because it's no sugar added, you don't have to worry about that sneaky sweetness that's common in cheap supermarket bacon. What truly sets Applegate apart is transparency. Every pack clearly states where the pork comes from and what's inside, no vague natural flavoring nonsense or hidden preservatives under fancy names. The brand is also certified humane, which means the pigs are treated with decency, no factory farm nightmares or cruel confinement. Applegate has even made waves in health-conscious circles and fitness communities, becoming a favorite among keto, paleo, and whole food enthusiasts. It's the kind of bacon that proves you can love your breakfast and your body at the same time. So if you're looking to make the switch from the chemical-loaded brands we just exposed, Applegate Naturals. No sugar bacon should be your first stop. It's clean, trustworthy, and built for people who refuse to compromise on what goes on their plate. Because real bacon shouldn't come with a side of fear, just flavor. 2. Peterson's Natural Farms Uncured Bacon, the rebel with a cause. If Applegate is the classic hero of healthy bacon, then Peterson's Natural Farms Uncured Bacon is the rebel who changed the rules of the game. Born out of Texas, Peterson's isn't just making bacon, they're waging war against the artificial ingredients that dominate supermarket shelves. Peterson's took a stand years ago when most bacon companies were still bathing their products in nitrites, artificial smoke flavor, and chemical sweeteners. Their philosophy? If you can't pronounce it, it doesn't belong in your food, and they've lived by that mantra ever since. Every slice of Peterson's bacon is 100% sugar-free, nitrate, and nitrite-free, and made from humanely raised pigs that are never treated with antibiotics or growth hormones. The pigs roam freely and eat a vegetarian diet. No mystery feed, no fillers. The curing process is minimal and natural, using simple ingredients like sea salt and celery powder, proving you don't need a chemistry degree to understand your food label. But the story doesn't stop there. Peterson's also made waves for being Whole30 approved, a rare badge of honor in the bacon world. Fitness coaches, nutritionists, and clean eaters swear by it because it's one of the few bacon brands that truly fits into a healthy lifestyle without sacrificing that smoky, satisfying flavor bacon lovers crave. What's fascinating about Peterson's is their commitment to transparency and sustainability. The brand goes above and beyond in ensuring every step from sourcing pork to packaging aligns with eco-friendly and ethical practices. Their farms focus on animal welfare and sustainability, long before it became a social media trend. And let's talk about the taste. Peterson's bacon doesn't need fake liquid smoke or sugary glazes to impress you. It crisps beautifully, delivers a balanced, savory bite, and has that pure, meaty richness that real bacon is supposed to have. No slimy residue, no chemical aftertaste, just honest flavor. So when you're tired of bacon brands that read like a science experiment and want something truly clean, Peterson's Natural Farms is your answer. It's not just bacon, it's bacon with integrity. Because your breakfast deserves better than artificial smoke and chemical shortcuts. So there you have it, the truth about bacon that most grocery stores don't want you to know. From chemical-laden, overly processed brands that cut corners for profit, to clean, responsibly made options like Applegate and Peterson's that still deliver that smoky perfection, the choice is now in your hands. Remember, not all bacon is created equal. Some strips might look delicious in the package, but behind that shiny label lies a cocktail of preservatives, hidden sugars, and additives that can take a serious toll on your health over time. Next time you walk down the breakfast aisle, take an extra second to read the ingredients. Look for words like uncured, nitrate-free, and pasture-raised, because your health and your taste buds deserve better than the cheap shortcuts of mass-produced bacon. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started. In the next video, we'll expose even more everyday grocery foods hiding shocking secrets. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Stay sharp, eat smart, and as always, keep rising above the hype.